Heyo, greetings, people, and salutations. It is I, a goat, here to talk to you today about the fancy little preview that they just released for the BattleTech Mercenaries Kickstarter. Also, sorry if my voice is a bit more nasally or gravelly or whichever thing going on. My throat is being my enemy today. It does not want to properly lubricate my face hole. But enough about my disgusting flesh body. Now we must return to the glory of glorious, giant, deadly, humanoid death machines. And two bipedals, because I think the bipedals are coming out in the Kickstarter. Yes, they are. I remember those things. Yes, but enough about that. Let's look at the thing. Yeah. It's got a launch date, which is great, because that way I can just put that on a calendar. It's the first preview of. I assume we'll probably like be putting about one of these every month, maybe twice a month on the month before. I don't know. But basically, it just seems to be a small little preview of all little stuff. You get to see some behind the scenes after I scrolled through all this and read all this. But yeah, so it's the first preview. We see the cool box art with the Star Slayer, some tanks, the Devastator. I think it's a Caesar, and then I think in the far back you can see a Jenner 2C. I want to say that's what that is. I think that's what that is. Like just in the real far back down there. But yeah, storming through the tabletop battlefield, the Mercenary Kickstarter launches on March 23rd, 2023, live from Adepticon. But yeah, here we just get the spiel about them talking about things they learned in the clan invasion, how people liked, like just seeing the process of making stuff, which is always cool because I also dig that. As an artist, I'm like, ooh, I want to see how they made things. Also, more Star Slayer, which looks very nice. In Touring Kodak colors, cool. But yeah, here we can see like they're going to be showing off the two ones in this one are Quick Draw and Assassin, and also they tell you which box they're going to be in, which is cool. And hopefully, maybe we'll figure out like what some of these stuff we haven't seen in the other box. Like we've seen a couple boxes, and there's like one or two mechs missing for some. I think there's the primary ones that are missing a lot are the clan ones, because they have like two mechs missing usually or whatnot. Everything else is like one mech, but I don't remember what the particulars are. But yeah, we're gonna take a look at the quick draw and the assassin, which quick draw is gonna be the main box. Assassin's gonna be in the inner sphere heavy recon lance, which I know of one particular person who's going to be really happy about finally getting this out. Um, Mostly because I know that because they commissioned me to draw it for them. Uh, that was one of my first battles. No, I think it was my second BattleTech commission. I got to draw up the assassin. That and I know Bishop also is going to be happy about that. Bishop Steiner, I know he's going to enjoy seeing the more easy to define the cockpit windows. I bet he always has his little here's how the cockpit windows go stuff. Yeah, here's the original artwork that they're basing it off of. By I always do not know how to pronounce this name. Dukan Luz. I will probably have to look that up later because I feel like I'm mispronouncing it. But yeah, the classic old school artwork from way back when in 1986. And then here we see like the process of how they're reinvigorating it, kind of redesigning some stuff. And how like some it's just kind of looking at the process like it's a really small little preview. It's only a couple pages, but it's something really neat to see as a person who just really does dig like seeing the process of how things are made, even seeing like small stuff like this where it's like, oh hey, here's the initial sketch that we did, and this one was just so on point we didn't even need to do any secondaries. And then what was interesting you learn on this is apparently they don't ever really come up with the back detail. Uh, so they just leave that to the 3D modelers, which is a bit interesting. As a person who like draws design works occasionally, I'm like, but at some point you need to do the back. How are you gonna know if you don't? But I guess that's just a bit easier for the 3D modelers to figure out because they have all the other stuff, and then they can just infer based off of like, oh yeah, put a jump jet here, a little cog here, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, that's interesting to me. Like I don't, I don't know how I feel about it because I'm like, if you're doing the design, you gotta do all 3D unless. Yeah. Again, I've only done freelance stuff for people's personal things, so maybe it's different on a company level. Oh, to get a job doing proper work on design. Oh, lovely. But yeah, here we get to see like the back of the assassin, how they kind of came up with the sketch for that, the design artwork, um, and then some 3D rendered examples, which looking tasty, looking real tasty. And then how they basically just, for the Alpha Strike cards or any little books, they just color up the 3D models and utilize those. And just showing off the final like TRO, like when you see on your record sheet kind of stuff. Then you get to see who it's by, which is Hari. Oh God, names Kalio, K That is no KALLLIO. Cannot read for the quick draws artwork, and then Benjamin Mears um for the assassin. That's a fun one. Both these are very nice. Always love the black and white kind of grayscale highlighted artwork that they do for these. Just oh so tasty. I just love all the. I just like BattleTech a lot. Here we get to see a preview of the sculpts, and now we get to see all the fancy painted by the camo spec peoples, which gives you a lot more perspective on how each of these things is gonna look. I think because like you can see a lot from a kind of a neutral like gray that the plastic they're molded in, but just when you see something painted, you can really get a good sense of like, oh, okay, here's how like just generally things look a bit easier. Like, it makes it easier for your eye to kind of take in the details. It doesn't like gray out and kind of blur some stuff together. So at least that's kind of how I've tended to take it. Yeah, both done up in Calhoun colors and both looking oh so nice. Oh so tasty. Love the highlights here. Oh man. And you get back and finish up a couple of the models I have for my Calhoun's. I think at this point I have like a company of mechs done up in Calhoun colors. Maybe I have to check back the number. It's something like that. I have a bunch of them done. I think it's like almost 3 lances, so probably almost a company. I forget what the specifics are. But yeah, and then at the end, it's like, hey, they're also giving a state for the Kellhound's Mercenary Lance pack, which is interesting. The one thing I noticed is you don't have the Jumping Crusader and you don't have the Night Sky in this preview here, which I don't know if that's like a thing or whatnot. Because I know they've also shown images off of like the jumping ones with the night sky and whatnot, or if it's just like, oh, this was done before that or whatever. And then a link to like some Cowhounds stories, which I have this book now. I have the physical book for the Cowhound descent. Have not started reading it. Need to, but I am also really trying to finally sit down and finish Question of Survival, which I started last night before I went to bed because I've been sitting on it forever and I read the first 2 chapters and it is amazing. Highly recommend that book. But yeah, here's kind of just a quick ramble tamble about like just the coolness of like, oh hey, we're gonna see like some production artwork, other little things. I'd love to see some like if I really could make a choice on what we'd see in like the next preview. I'd love to see some of the art, like how they translated some of the tank designs, because you see a lot of mech stuff, and I think there's rumors, or I don't know if it's confirmed or whatnot. I heard that apparently we're supposed to get inner spear battle armor in the mercenaries, like actual core box sets. This big old box set right here. Um, but that could just be a rumor or a speculation that I saw. I think it's either on Reddit or Twitter. Probably Twitter because I don't use Reddit all that much. I should honestly use it more. But that be how things go. But yeah, it's just a quick little ramble. I'm super excited for this Kickstarter. I'm gonna see if I can get at least one of each mech pack when it comes out, depending on the money I have at the time. Because I still got to save me up my cash for bills and trying to move out and find my own place here in the world. The world! Oh, gotta put the JoJo reference in there at some point. But yeah, I'm hype. I can't wait for this. Even if I'm only get like the main box and maybe a one or two lance packs, there's a lot of mech designs that I really really like in this. Just from a design perspective, I don't know how they play on the tabletop, but like as a person who just likes to paint a whole lot, I'm like, oh, that's gonna be cool. Especially the Star Slayer. I really like the redesign that they gave I believe it's called a Star Slayer because like the original model is good. It just has a really wonky kind of goofy arm, and here they fixed up the arm. They got the gun placements. And it's just tasty, tasty upgrade. The Caesar as well was one of those ones that like is wonky, but it's also kind of charming in its original look. And I also really like the design that they got up there. But yeah, there's a bunch of really fun redesigns of some of the old stuff, and I cannot wait to just see what else comes out in these little previews. Cause hey, it's always cool getting to see like the process of how something's made, as well as like, oh, this is hyping us up for like the thing coming, and then I don't think Dominion Divided will be coming out before this or the Kickstarter starts or like around the same time. I do not remember if they've stated when Dominion Divided will be coming out, but like, oh man, I'm so hyped for that because I've loved Tomorrow Rising and Empire Alone. Both of those have been exceptionally well. Like, well, those are the first source books I've ever read from BattleTech, and they are just enthralling reads. Especially Tomorrow Rising. I loved reading that up as soon as I got it because I had heard about it, hadn't been able to get it like for a minute when it came out, and then as soon as I got it, I was up. I think until like 1 or 2 in the morning, right before I went to FWA, reading that book one night, and I was like, "Oh, this is so good!" And I really want to read the books that are based around setting that, because a Question of Survival is set in the Jade Falcon situation kind of stuff going on, and they have one for the Tamar pack, the which is the Elements of Treason series, where it's like I think it's jumping around on like the faction we're following. So I believe the second one, I think it's Opportunity, is following the one guy who took over the Lyrian Commonwealth for a little bit and is now kind of off doing his own thing. I forget his name, but he's kind of telling about his story on how he kind of rose to power there. But yeah, I I wish I had more time just to read everything. Uh, but I got to do the commissions. But yeah, I'm so like happy for like all the cool BattleTech stuff. There's been good novels I've read. Really love Redemption, right? Need to read Redemption Rift, and I can't wait to see what happens with that plot line later on as well. But yeah, just BattleTech is such a fun, cool thing to get into because it's a very enthralling series, but also it's very easy to get into. Unlike like 40K, where it's a bit, I guess, for lack of a better term, sprawling. Even though BattleTech has its sprawl, it's not like an overwhelming mass of complete clusters where like you can have some things that have no bearing on anything and just can be their own self-contained thing, and then you just have like all the stuff that is the main plot, whereas Battletech seems like it's a bit easier to follow like what is going on, as well as like, oh, okay, this is just its own thing chilling out during these kind of events. I don't know, both games have their benefits and positives. Battletech is just easier to get into because one, the cost of entry is not like I think like $300. I don't even know because they kept raising their prices, but yeah, like just that's always a thing that I always recommend people because it's like you don't need to break a bank to really get into the thing. You just need a single lance pack, the free rules, and boom, you're good to play. And I think that's really like why I really like Catalyst in general is it just they give you really easy time trying to get into something, and so you just get really happy about that fairly easy. That and like the stories and stuff have been really great. Like the novels, the source books, the lance packs, just super fun, good stuff. I don't know. I'm a happy Enby. I'm just that's what I be. Happy Enby goat. But yeah, thank uh thank y'all for watching this little video. If you got to the end, hit the like and subscribe if you feel like that. Or comment down below things that you want to see in like these previews. If there's anything in particular, things you're hyped about, or things you're speculating about the Mercenaries Kickstarter. Um, what kind of story you think they're gonna put in there? Because they always have those little novellas. I'm looking forward to getting the freaking little Alpha Strike box at some point and seeing what the little story there. Because I love those little things. Those are so cute. I really want to get around to writing some stuff myself and have like a little stable booklet like that with a nice hard shiny satin or whatever cardstock cover. Ah, God. Creativity. It is infectious, be it via game or cool artworks or words on a page. But yeah, yeah, that's kind of the takeaway. Just be kind of like happy about cool stuff happening by cool people. Yeah, everybody have a good one, and thank you for watching my video. Goodbye.